All right, this is my first Facebook Live, and the reason why I'm doing this, oh my god, hold on, face turns like super white. The reason why I'm doing this is because I am doing ads and that sort of thing, trying to figure out how to sell yourself as a photographer online using ads, and then also like renting out studio and that sort of thing. And coming to think of it as when you sell something, I've like watched a few videos just to hear what they have to talk about and everything. But I must say that I don't like nothing that or most of the things I hear. I'm not sold, man. I am not sold. So like, there's a technique. We just like talk to yourself, and you probably talk to a customer, and you probably felt this before. If you go into a store or something, people like start a conversation with you, and you don't really want to talk to them. You're like, hi, and then they start talking to you like in general. And you're like, all right, okay, cool, and then they ask you stuff, and then you're in a conversation for like 5 minutes, and I myself can tell, like, hey, I know you want to sell me something, get to it and don't waste my time. That's sort of my response to it. So I don't want to pull that, like, strategy of I pretend to care so you'll buy something for me. Creating a conversation you don't really want, but you want the person's money, so you talk to them and have a conversation with them. I just feel like I don't know, it's in one way I would say disgusting, but maybe that's what it takes to actually sell nowadays. I don't know, but like, it's like, yes, I'm not gonna talk about it now. I'm talking about, I'm not gonna name names or anything, but as a photographer on LinkedIn, for example, I get a lot of messages on retouching services. A lot of retouching services. And now they started to do like, we retouch 2 photographs for free as a sample. Even that is like, no, not really. No, not gonna do it. And on LinkedIn, like yesterday was my birthday, and that's when people fucking wanna like really take advantage of that, not really wishing me a happy birthday. They don't know me, they don't care about me, or they don't know me, and they probably go like, why would you congratulate someone who you'd never met on their birthday? Like, hey, happy birthday. The reason for this, it's a great way to start a conversation. Hey, happy birthday. I don't know you, but I'm saying happy birthday to you, and let's skip a few minutes of conversation, and then you go, so you want to buy something from me? I mean, that's, to me, it's a slap in the face, and therefore I do not feel comfortable pulling that shit on others, because I myself hate it. Why would I bring that shit to someone else? Okay, if I hate the person, maybe, then I'll be like, hey, my name is Dennis, I have this and this and that, and I have this as an interest, and my favorite was this, blah 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 blah. If I hate the person, sure, I'll use that tactic. Alright, so I'll give you an example. Alright, this is how a conversation starts. I'm not gonna tell you like the name of the person or anything. Alright. It started out as, and by the way, this is a selling technique. This is someone trying to sell me something. All right, the person goes, hi. I go, hi. And then the person goes, how are you? And then right afterwards, this person says, happy birthday, and then sends a gif, happy birthday. I'm like, haha, thanks. How are you? I'm playing along. All right. So this is a person on LinkedIn trying to have a conversation with me, trying to sell me something, but needs to have like a 20-minute conversation with me before she goes like, okay, it's a she, right? Before she goes, hey, want to buy this? I'm like, no. Anyways, she goes, I'm good too. That's good to hear. How about you? And I'm like, you already asked me that. And scrolling. All right. After a conversation, then obviously, like, if someone starts a conversation and you don't know them, like, hi, how are you, and everything, you're like, this is leading to somewhere. This is leading to somewhere where my answer is no. And of course it's no. And here she goes. She goes, I am from Clipping Homes, and I'm a professional graphic designer, and I have an expert photo editing team. I want to develop business with LinkedIn contacts. And then I reply, I'm looking for clients myself rather than services, because got enough of those. And then she copy pastes like 3 things. So there's a text and a huge link, and there's like free trial for 1 week, and then you see like before and after shot of like a photograph edited. And I'm just brushing this off, and the person just keeps on going like hi, and I'm like no, and then today again, she goes hi, and I go, what's up? What do you want now? What do you want today? Same thing here. There's a person starting a conversation. Hey, how are you? Good. You? I even reply back. Hey, I'm good. How are you, random person? And now where that person's gonna copy paste 5 things that I need to buy from this person. Same thing here, but this person is way more bold. he goes hi and he doesn't even wait for my hi. He just copy pastes a lot of stuff with a lot of hashtags and with a lot of links, and then 3 other things he copy pastes. And I'm like, am I gonna buy from you? But my problem is this. That bullshit don't work. That bullshit of going, someone is so bold and going, happy birthday to you, dear Dennis. Hope you're doing great. And then links is like business link here. Hey, pay shit for me. Oh my God. And it doesn't stop. And everyone is using this tactic. It's not gonna work. I don't like in any way. You're shooting yourself in the foot. I would never buy from you, even if it's something that I actually need, and you go on with a conversation, and you're only doing it for selling me something. All right. The point of, hey, skip the bullshit, talk about the stuff. I see right through that from the beginning. So, again, people are doing this. As a photographer, as someone who needs clients myself, how the hell should you approach? All right? I don't just want to be a photographer who gets a job here and there. I want to grow a business, not just within workshops, but within services, within prints, and just want to build something big photography-wise. All right? And seeing these things, the people on LinkedIn, the people on Instagram, wherever it is, starting conversations with, hi, my name is this, and a lot of stuff that I don't really care about, and then bring in the business. I myself, if I look towards myself, I would go, well, just get to the point. I'm probably gonna say no, doesn't matter what it is. And that's easy as a customer, because you can just brush that stuff off. But when you're in the other seat of actually trying to sell something, it's a whole nother thing. Because you're like, okay, I don't want to be that bullshitter on LinkedIn or Instagram. I don't want to be that. But what the fuck am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? You can ask yourself, like, hey, how would you like to be approached? Well, the thing is, I think I'm sort of impossible in that way. Because, don't sell me shit. I don't want stuff. The things I want, I get. And if you approach me, not gonna buy it. Alright? Not gonna buy it. There's another, conversation about when you go into a store, any store. Yeah, people talk to you, having a conversation, showing you things, and then once you're in the store and you talk to Larry for 10 minutes, you feel forced to buy something. That is also like, hey, Larry knows what he's doing. Larry knows what he's doing. He's manipulating you to buy something. And you can call it sale tactics, whatever. I just see it so dirty. I just see it like a mischief. You're luring people. And that's annoying. And that's what I don't appreciate. And again, if those things might work, but I don't want to do it, what am I supposed to do? If you're a person with a business trying to sell things, you kind of maybe feel the way I feel right now. But yeah, otherwise you can spend a lot of money on advertising or a team that people like that can do this for you. But then I don't know, the thing with advertising, it's like it's never promising sales. I've spent 3 months on one application, on one app that is supposed to be great. 3 months, 0 customers. And I'm a bit torn, like, should I keep doing this? Because I'm wasting a lot of money and I'm getting no customers. And nowadays, with advertising, it's basically, if you have a website, you should have a website. Then you're only driving traffic. So what advertising does is helps you drive traffic. So they're not promising sales. They can't. If they don't have like 500 buddies who needs photographs, for example. That's another thing. That's like a favor more than an advertising company. But as an advertising company, they can never promise you sales. They don't know. Same thing for the other ad company. All right? And this is far-fetched, and this is what they feed from. I told a person that I'm in contact with because of the whole advertising. He's from that company. And I was about to like cancel that ad, the ad I'm running. Like it's like organic search through Google. So if you're in one spot, if you're in Stockholm, Sweden, and more specifically a specific address or a specific area, and you go Google photography, I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna be on the top. However, if you're in the US and Google photographer, it's gonna be completely different. You're not gonna see me at the top. So that's what Google organic search is, search engine. So let's say if I am in a place called Haninge in Sweden, and if I Google photograph, which is photographer in Swedish, then I'm gonna be at the top. However, if I Google photographer here, where I live now, in Sollentuna, I'm not gonna get that. I'm not gonna be at the top. So, yeah, that's basically what they're sort of selling. Organic search through specific places. Now, again, that will give you traffic. That will give you customers or people visiting your website. However, that's not promise that that person visiting your website is gonna buy anything from you or email anything. So that's, as I said, it's never promised. And here I go as a photographer going, shit, I've spent so much money on advertising. I've got nothing from it. I can't say that it doesn't work. It works. But is there maybe a better way? Especially for photographers. Like if I was selling candy, I would probably get a lot of customers. Everybody loves candy. But, well, that's a goddamn argument right there. Photography, alright? It's an oversaturated market, I guess. There's a lot of people saying that they're photographers because they have an Instagram page and 500 presets in Lightroom. Then there are photographers who are actually photographers, but they're not being taken serious if you don't show a great portfolio or a business degree or like a degree of some sort. Because I remember a conversation I had about this, and I introduced myself as a photographer, and the person immediately thought that I like to take photographs, and I call myself a photographer. And then I just mentioned later on in the conversation that I actually work with photography, and then he got like shocked. It's like, so you're a photographer? I'm like, yeah, I just told you. But saying you're a photographer nowadays doesn't mean much until they slap like a huge portfolio in that person's face and then go, so you do have a camera, not just an iPhone. Got it. You're actually a photographer. I think that's very funny. And I think if you introduce yourself, a business card is obviously very good to have in those situations, because the people who are on Instagram and who call themselves photographers and just photographs with their phone and like never gotten paid as a photographer, I don't think they would go as so far to buy business cards, you know? Then you go, so alright, you're a photographer. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's that. I'm just going on a rant, basically. But yeah, the main issue is advertising. How should I advertise? I don't want to create the whole fake conversation thing where people feel forced to have a conversation, then 10 minutes later you go, hey, and also this. Because that just feels not just dirty, but it feels wrong. Even if you get paid, even if it works. And separating yourself from those people might be good. You know? The question is how. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't know. I can keep on talking, but it's gonna be a long live. Be a long live. Yeah, advertising. How to advertise. Yeah. And then maybe like, because you can also be like trendy. For example, what's going viral at the moment? Like, just to get recognition, just to get more of those views into your website. Like the bottle cap challenge is viral at the moment. It's also the face app where you show yourself when you're old. Like every goddamn celebrity is doing it. And if you just hashtag, I believe it's old man filter or old filter, you'll get a lot of recognition. You'll get a lot of views if you hashtag that. And on Instagram, I hashtag a lot. I do hashtag a lot. I've actually gotten, like, not complaints. Well, sort of complaints. Like, why you hashtag so much? Like, there's a reason for it. But, you know, I am one of those people who go, in a sentence, if I write something on a story. Have you ever thought about hashtag photography in this kind of way? So, yeah. You do like macro and micro hashtags to fit your genre. It works, I guess. You do get some results depending on the time as well. Alright, that's my pen right here. Dennis Forsberg, branding. Yeah, I think that's it. Me complaining about ads. Hey, ads should be more honest. Ads should be, this is in your face, you want it? Cool. And then also creating a okay, I'm going on here. Also creating a product that someone needs, alright? But what if photography is my passion and I want to make money out of it? I want to earn a living as a photographer. Okay, that's completely different than I want to do photography, you know? Because if you say, I want to do photography, that's great. However, be prepared to have a 9-to-5 job as well. Now, if you go, oh, no, but I hate 9 to 5. Oh, okay. And you love photography. Okay. So what are you going to do? Are you going to make a living out of photography? Okay, cool. How are you going to do that? 5 years later, you're like in the maybe zone of actual living as a photographer. But then also, keep your expenses super goddamn low. Because otherwise, you know, good luck. Because I'll give you an example. I think this is a very long introduction. Like, I introduced myself after 20 minutes, which is super great in a live. This is coming up on the post. I just, before I even start, the chance of someone actually watching the whole thing, whoa, that's foreign. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think anyone is gonna watch this full clip. I don't think anyone's gonna watch the whole live. And if you did, come on. How bored are you? Alright. Okay. So, I am a photographer. I am in that seat that I want to do the photography I want to do, but I also want to make a living as a photographer. That's a problem. Not a problem, that's just like, good luck. This sort of thing. It is difficult. Because again, let me repeat myself. It's cool. You want to do photography. And I myself want to live off of photography. Alright, cool. So, having a 9-to-5 and photography on the side, not doing it, Dennis? No, absolutely not gonna swear. Absolutely not. Absolutely fruit not. Okay? Another F word instead of the real F word. Absolutely fruit not, man. Girl, whatever. Transgender, I don't judge. I watch some RuPaul, Alright. Okay. Get to the point, though, Dennis. I'm a photographer. I don't want to just do photography. I can take a camera now and go hee and click it and take photographs, but I also want to make it as a business. And that's difficult. So, first off, you can fall into some goddamn dangerous pitfalls there. Because if you want to do photography, and I wouldn't, if people who don't think of the business side of things and just do photography, I think there's a few people or a lot of people that do photography and then all of a sudden they get recognition and all of that, and the only thing they do is just post photographs and then post more and just post photographs on social media. For some reason, 1 or 2 or 3 or 100 people like that. All of a sudden, they share those photographs. All of a sudden, this person is building a brand without knowing it, because the only thing that person thinks about is taking photographs and share them. All of a sudden, you're getting a following. All of a sudden, you have 2 million followers. And you made a business out of it without knowing it. The only thing you did was liking and photographing what you want to do. That's one way to go with it. Then there's the way of consciously doing it. And that would be what I do. Is that going great? I don't know. Then there's the way I did it. Is thinking, I want to do photography. But I also want to make a living out of photography. It's so difficult to say, like, percentage-wise, how well, like, what's the biggest chance if you just do it because it's fun or you're just consciously wanting to do it? Chance-wise, I would guess that if you're conscious of actually wanting to make a business out of it, that will probably increase your chance of actually getting there rather than just doing it for fun. But the thing is, when you consciously do it, making a business out of it, there's a lot of boring shit, man. There's a lot of things that you think about. There's a lot of the part of business, not a lot of part of the shooting. Whereas a person who just photographs for fun might get so lucky and just photograph because that person loves it and get a business out of it. But again, I do it consciously. Therefore, I make a lot of decisions that might not be so much fun, but I do it because I feel like I need to do it because I need to grow my business. Making sense? Whereas Sally just photographs because it's fun and grows a business larger than mine. I don't know. See what I'm getting at? Anyways, doing it consciously. Again, yeah, there's a lot of boring sides to it. Doing the whole advertising, spending money, thinking about the future, like thinking about what kind of genre you're going into and just constantly pushing work, as well as counting budgets, as well as spending money on ads, that sort of thing. And then, in my case, having a studio, rented a studio to make money out of it. But that's actually not really the reason why I got my studio. The reason why I got my studio is because I love photographing in the studio. And renting something over and over again, it just saves me money if I have a studio. However, this I thought about today. It cost me $36,000. No, hold on. 36,000 Swedish crowns per year to hold that photography studio up. Now, it's 3,000 a month. Not much. 36,000 Swedish crowns a year. Now, all of a sudden, oh my god, that's a lot of money. Oh my god. And then you go again and kind of like, imagine if I would have saved 3,000 a month. Oh my god, I would have 36,000 Swedish crowns. I could buy a new camera with that. Oh my god. But you don't think it that way. You think it short term, you know? And yeah. But what I thought about today is, all right, per year I spend 36,000 Swedish crowns. The amount of shoots I do in the studio versus how much it costs me per year now, would it be cheaper to actually spend money on a studio, renting it, than actually having one for my own? Yes and no. If I get it started, which I have, but if I get money rolling in the studio, renting it out to other people, then it's just not a money that would go to waste, but it's a money where I can put money in, you know? If I rent a studio from someone else, Peter, all right? If I rent from Peter, then what I get out of it is using the studio for 8 hours, seconds, 8 hours, and money goes into his pocket. But what if I owned a studio, spent money each month, and using it for free, and also getting other people to come here, as Peter did towards me? All of a sudden, it's an investment. All of a sudden, it's an opportunity to make money. That's how I look at it. And the reason why, and because I look at it in that way, it led on to several actions that kept me renting out the studio, or like me paying for that studio. So in the end, is it worth it? I can tell you this. I've lost more money than I've earned on that place. Definitely. What it feels like is, as a photographer, when you buy a camera, you buy an expensive lens and that sort of thing. If I would have asked you now, have you earned more money rather than what you spent? So buying, I bought a Nikon 24-70 2.8, all right? That cost me around, back then, 45,000 Swedish crowns. Now, Dennis, have you made that money back? No. And that was my first camera. Then my second camera, which is my Sony a7R II with a 24-70 2.8 G master lens. All right, again, then you add that. Have you earned your money back? No. Nah, man, just further away from it. Then, adding studio lights. And that's like 25,000. Actually, with the whole studio as well, it's added up to 35,000 on top of that. So, in total, let's say I've spent 130,000 Swedish crowns on my photography. Now, Dennis, have you made that money back? No, man. So, a photographer who spends a lot of money on a camera, is it an investment? As in, I'm gonna make more money out of this. I'm gonna spend money to buy a camera, but that camera is gonna make so much more money than I spent on it. In a lot of cases, in almost 80%, I would imagine. Because when you're throwing numbers, you're like, oh, that person's smart. 80%, oh my god, that person's smart. Oh no, oh my god. 80% of photographers don't earn their money back on camera gear at all. They've not wasted money because they wanted the camera, but as far as money goes, no, they haven't earned back that money, and 20% has. Oh my god, Dennis, you're throwing numbers around. You're so smart. Again, I just came up with that. And, thinking about that and going, well, how do I turn this around? How do I... And what's worse is, that's one cost. You pay it once, alright, cool. However, there's my finger. However, the studio and advertising, that's per month. That's something that goes and goes and goes and goes, and the longer you have it, the more money you spend on it. So you're constantly thinking and feeling, god damn it, this drains me money. I need to cover my costs. Now I can cover my costs. However, within this year, 2019, I've covered my costs, but, and what I mean by that is costs on the studio, on advertising. I cover my costs, but here's a problem. And it's actually a problem. I'm gonna stop saying problem now. That's the studio takes. Let's just take for 2019, alright? Oh my god, I'm gonna bring out math and I'm live streaming on my phone so I can use the calculator. Alright, cool. Let's do this. 3,000 each month. Alright? Times 7. Alright, that is easy. I've spent, oh my god, that's a lot of money. 21,000, yeah, god damn, on just the studio. So I spent 21,000 Swedish crowns on just the studio. Have I earned that money back? Let's have a look. I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to go into a link here where I do my invoices. And bloop. Okay, here we go. And I want to have a look at my earnings on this here. Boom. And let's have a look. I'm just going to change it there. No, hold on. I'm just going to... Cool. Let's see if I can do that. Reports. Here we go. Invoices. Here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Around 15,000 Swedish crowns I've earned. Alright, 15,000 on photography for the past 7 months. That's a lot. No, that's not a lot. That's not a lot at all. And again, the studio takes each month 3,000. And as of now, 15,000. I've made money, but I have definitely not covered my costs. So, if I wouldn't have done photography, and if I just worked my 9 to 5, I wouldn't have lost so much money. And I think that's interesting. And then you might go, oh, well then quit your job, just quit photography then. Throw out the studio. What are you doing? And I go, no. Nah, man, that photography is what I love. All right, I'm spending a lot of money. I'm trying to flip this. But it's not easy. And the funny thing is, I need to make money off of the studio. Because what happens now is I do photography jobs that might not be in the studio, that is on location on other places that I don't even need a studio for. Therefore, I am putting money, like for example, I'm doing a wedding. That money is going to cover my studio costs. But that's not the point. That, like, if imagine this, I shoot weddings upon weddings upon weddings to cover my costs on the studio. Now, that's not smart, all right? That's not smart because you're not using the studio, you're shooting weddings to pay for something you don't use, all right? And even if I do use it from time to time, I want my studio to pay off. I want to earn money on the studio, not something that's just a cost all the time. If I pay 3,000 Swedish crowns, I'm going to write this down. If I pay 3,000 Swedish crowns on my studio each month, then hey, guess what? I want to at least earn 6,000 each month. And that gives me a profit of, well, 3,000. That's what I want to do. However, not the easiest thing. Not the easiest thing. But, yeah. I can't argue that the studio isn't in the best location, but I have to sell that. Alright? The reason how you sell that. Let's say half a day. Half a day is maybe 3,000 Swedish crowns. or more in a studio, all right, for 4 hours. This is my calculation. This is my business sort of calculation of this. 3,000 Swedish crowns for 4 hours in a studio in the city, all right? Close. If you're in the city, that's close, you know? But if you would go outside the city, 40 minutes, all right? 40 minutes outside the city, you can pay 1,500 Swedish crowns for 4 hours. Now, if I would ask you on the live stream here, what would you pick? Would you pick in the city, that's 3,000, or would you go outside the city and pay half of that? I don't know. To me, in the beginning, that's like, no shit, I'm gonna go outside the city. Why am I gonna like waste 1,500 Swedish crowns like over there in the city? And then you can argue, what can you do with at 1,500 Swedish crowns? If you put value into it, like, because 1,500, that's a number, right? That's a number that you might just not think about, okay? But imagine if I would have said, if you would go outside the city, then you say 1,500 Swedish crowns. That's like getting a month of free travel around the city and everything, with buses, trains, and that sort of thing, like a Metro card. That's a Metro card for a month. Now it gives you the idea of, 1,500 can get me this, all right? If you go one time outside the city and shoot there, okay? I don't think a lot of people think of it like that. I've lost business because of that. I think that there was a thing with there was a photographer, there was a company that needed to shoot like ice cream, and I charged less than the photographer, around 500 Swedish crowns, or like, I think it was 500 Swedish crowns below what she would have paid, what she would have charged. But her studio was in the city, and therefore they don't care about 500 Swedish crowns. They just go, let's go there, because it's 5 minutes away versus 40 minutes away. I get that. And I lost another thing, like a company job, where I would photograph portraits, company portraits, and it would have gotten me 5,000 Swedish crowns. It's around $500, around, give or take. And then they were like, well, they asked me to do it, and then I told them where my studio lies, and then they got cold feet and went, you know what, we're going with someone in the city. I lost 5,000 Swedish crowns on that. However, if I would rent a studio in the city, that's very expensive. That is very expensive. It's more than 10 times the cost of what I pay now. So you can argue that I save more money in the studio that I have now rather than the studio in the city. And there's a lot more pressure. All right, I need one customer to cover my cost. I need one customer to cover my cost of the rent for a month. If your rent in the city is 25,000 Swedish crowns a month, let's say, or, well, depending on location, depending on how big it is, let's say 50,000, right? Imagine how many customers you need to actually just break even from that cost of the studio. Now, granted, there might be a lot of interest there. I don't know. But it's also a huge risk you're taking. Instead of spending 3,000 Swedish crowns, you're spending 50,000 Swedish crowns, but in the city. Hopefully, giving you more customers. But that's, yeah. So those are like my I sort of got into the business of the studio and how I think and how I try to sell it. And then going with, would it be better in the city? Doubt it. I want it to be good where I have it now, and then move to the city. Open another studio. That's the plan, at least. Alright, I've been live streaming enough. I need to work on a mood board for a shoot. Peace out. And if you like this, cool. Of course, I'm gonna make some goddamn advertising here. Alright? You can follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to be more active on Facebook as well. But on Instagram, it's Dennis Forsberg Photography. Same as on Facebook. Bye.